Okay. Hi everybody. Podcast
Hey,
is it started recording. You might want to get up on the mic a little bit more. I don't know.
sorry. It's
Yeah.
right here. I don't know if I should change my settings or if you can change my settings in Discord, make me
No, you're
louder.
fine. I think. I think it's fine. Uh,
All right.
it should be fine. Um. So yeah, just me and Zero this week because things happen. It's
Yeah, it's difficult. Scheduling is hard.
yeah. Slicer is currently getting his vaccine shots because he is an essential worker working in a hospital. So
It's
yeah.
his second shot, which is the one that is really, really good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the details of how all that works, but yes, he's
It's
getting
not
his
really
second.
effective for a long period of time until you get that second shot.
Yeah, it's my understanding is the first shot is like a basic. It gives your immune system a fighting chance, kind of thing, and it's the second one that makes you more or less immune.
Yes.
Not completely immune because it's basically a cold kind of thing, so it's very difficult to be completely immune, but close as we can reasonably get. So yeah, he's getting that right now. I think I'm not sure how that process works, but yeah. So just me and Zero, and Zero has claimed to have a rant in his minding of stuff about things. This should be good.
Yeah. I was just
Fuck that, man.
gosh, I'm probably gonna have to talk about spoilers for the show to really
Okay,
get down
so
into it.
do your best to avoid spoilers, and then when you can't anymore, then we're going to do a spoiler warning, just for the sake of
Yeah.
yeah. Titans, by the
Okay,
way,
so
audience. Just to make it clear,
mm,
we're talking about Titans.
Titans, right? The DC show that recently came to HBO Max because the DC network they were doing just kind of shut down. Um, so the premise of Titans is you have the characters who are typically called the Titans or the Teen Titans, and this is a grittier, darker take on them. Uh, the first season I liked. I had a few problems with it. Um, the issue is, I guess, for somebody who has watched like the Teen Titans cartoon, all these Titans are starting off at very different levels than we're used to. For example, this is a Robin who has given up on being Robin,
Yeah, he's
and this is a
basically proto
Raven who,
Nightwing by the look of it.
yes. Um, and there's this a Raven who doesn't know how to control her powers and doesn't know what the heck's going on with her.
Hmm.
And Beast Boy can turn only into a tiger, right? I talked about this before.
Because he really likes
And
tigers.
Starfire
Is still my head
and
canon.
Starfire is not the same character at all. But that's okay, I guess.
I I find myself curious by what you
I
mean by
don't
that.
know. She's like I watched the Teen Titans cartoon, so I don't know how accurate this. Is. Probably not accurate at all to the comics, but she's I don't know. She's boring a lot of the time. Like she doesn't do a lot too, especially later on, and they try to go out of their way to make sure she does not do a lot because her power is just I can burn things really, really good, but I can't do it at night, but I can burn things. And then a lot of the things that happen later on are at night.
Okay, I guess that's just basically let's nerf Superman kind of thing, because she is, let's say, very much not street level, and the tone they seem to be going for seem to be leaning that direction from what I saw.
Yeah, at first. And you have Hawk and Dove, who are the characters from the original Titans team that Robin had put together, which broke apart after a terrible thing happened. The first season is very much focused on Raven and her powers, and Trigon. If you recognize that name, you know what it's about. That's kind of I found that to be pretty interesting, especially where it ends. The second season is where a lot of the cracks start to show.
Okay.
In the original Teen Titans, you had 5 characters to really balance as main characters. You have Cyborg, Beast Boy, Robin, Starfire, Raven. Right? That's just a cartoon, but they still gave a lot of character depth to them.
Yeah, they had the 5, and then they added and took away as stories progressed and stuff. It was mostly the main roster, though. Yes.
Titans, the DC show, has double the cast in season 2 that it tries to juggle.
Oh no, they tried to do a Young Justice, didn't they?
Yes, they tried to do a Young Justice.
Oh no.
You know those characters from Young Justice?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Superboy. What you doing here?
Okay.
Oh, hey, Wonder Girl. Oh, hey, new character Rose.
New character Rose.
We're also gonna
like Ravager Rose or an actual new character.
She is. I don't know if she's an actual character in the comics. I think she probably is, but she is the daughter of Deathstroke.
Yeah, that's Ravager.
Ravager Rose. Okay, so Ravager Rose. Then we also have to worry about the new Robin, right? Who is Jason Todd?
Okay, Robin 2. Okay.
And
because Dick is still going fuck Batman, I presume.
He kind of gets over it. Throughout the show, he's like he deals with it. It's just like I've been projecting a lot of my problems onto you.
Yeah. He's decided to be his own man, like his father, but bolder.
Yeah, so he grows up out of that, and that's really nice.
Yeah, fair enough. Ryu will appreciate that random reference.
And so the show has an issue with, first of all, too many characters trying to juggle things at once. In particular, I think one of the main problems is Hawk and Dove. They're in a relationship together, and they get way too much screen time. I do not care about them. They are a couple. They don't have any powers. They like to fight. And I guess Dove was previously in a relationship with Robin. And there's drama there. But it's just... It's been 2 seasons, and Beast Boy can still only turn into a tiger. Most of season 2, Starfire is like, wait, I have to set up for Blackfire. And because there's so many characters that they're trying to juggle, there's also so many villains and things they're trying to juggle. Yeah. There's one villain being hinted at, which is Blackfire in season 2, which is obvious for anybody who knows Starfire.
Yeah.
Then there's classic Titan villains, Deathstroke and Dr. Light. Then there's
gotta accommodate Mega Man joining the team. Yep.
Yeah. Then there is since they introduced Superboy, the labs, and that whole organization as well.
Cadmus and
that
everything.
They deal with.
Yeah.
Cadmus, yes. So dealing with all these villains at once. To the point that the main villain introduced in season 2, Deathstroke, is kind of dealt with on a pit stop on their way to the actual Cadmus villain fight.
Hmm.
It's it's frustrating. It feels like there's never enough time in the show to actually have characters, I don't know, do things, and like the show sometimes takes an entire episode just to do a flashback to something 5 years ago.
Oh, hi Arrow. I remember that story thread. That was a thing that worked for the first two seasons when they did that, and then stopped working after that.
If you have 12 episodes, but two or three of them are devoted to different flashbacks at different points of time, you need to stop.
Hmm. Yeah, it's starting to sound like a bit of a Ruby situation almost of hey, let's slap all of these ideas from different shows together and just try and moosh them together and hope it works, and it just kind of doesn't. Is what it's sounding like to me as a person who has not seen Titans.
It worked best in season one when all you had were the main characters together trying to solve this mystery and they were working together and they would be introduced to new characters through their interactions. And it's like, wow, when all these characters, these main titans are together on screen and doing things together, it's actually really fun to watch.
Hmm.
But it's bloated and it's frustrating. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing that got me like pissed off is the melodrama. There are moments in which characters are mad at other characters for no reason. I mean, there is no legitimate reason why this character should be so mad at this other character. Because they hid something once, and to be honest, the reason why they hid it is perfectly valid, and it's not even their fault. But then they reveal it, and then everybody's like, I'm done with you. Let's go our separate ways.
This really is starting to sound like Ruby.
Yes. I don't I don't know what they were doing.
I just
There's a
remembered
point where
that Rooster Teeth have constantly been doing DC stuff recently. So, yeah, for the past
oh,
few years.
okay. This is a minor spoiler.
Right.
But there's a point where Robin, feeling so guilty about a secret he had hidden, decides to go punch a federal officer and get himself thrown in prison.
Okay.
The secret, by the way, is not a big deal. This character died in the past protecting me. That is the thing. That is what I hid, that this character had died protecting me.
That doesn't sound like a secret. It sounds like something that just happened. And it sucks, but
I had told them that the character that was dead when I got to the location, but the character had actually died protecting me. Don't you see? I'm the one who killed this character.
oh, that's stupid.
Yes.
That's stupid on multiple levels. Oh boy. Okay, yeah. That is
And people
not how Survivor's Guild works, but okay.
and the friends who are like, I'm with you all the way, man. Wait, somebody you knew died for you in the past? I'm done. Later. And it's just like, it's such a weird abandonment, even by people who don't even know the character, who had died. It's like, really? And the only one who calls it out is Beast Boy, and he's just like, I don't know what they're all upset about. Like, it's not your fault. You didn't have control over that.
Mm, that's really fucking weird.
So like the show acknowledges that it's stupid their overreaction. does nothing about it. And then later on, the characters get back together and they're just kind of fine. Like it's never addressed. And then like Dick Grayson, who went into prison, gets out of prison and then never talks about how he went to prison. Just never brings it up ever.
Yeah.
Why didn't you answer our calls? I was busy.
I feel like, hey, Bruce Wayne's adoptive son has now a federal criminal record. It's probably a big deal.
It's not brought up ever.
Huh.
Because they don't have time. Because they have to go deal with the Superboy situation. And the Deathstroke situation. At the same time.
Yeah, that sort of thing, you kind of want to consolidate your story threads there a little bit of just have Deathstroke be in league with Cadmus or whatever, or have them hire him because he's a mercenary and that's what mercenaries do, is they do jobs for shady people.
But no, Deathstroke has to have a personal grudge against the Titans. Everything like there's a whole episode, and all it is here is Superboy. I know you were in the middle of watching other things, but we're going to introduce this other character in this episode, and like literally a character falls off a balcony, and then they stop right there. It's like I guess that character is just gonna fall, and we'll find out what happens. Not next episode, the episode after that. Because we need to watch this episode about Superboy.
That sounds like an anime flashback.
Yeah. And then at the very end, Superboy is the Deus Ex Machina that saves the day, I guess. Just introduced right now. It's...
Yeah, that just because they spent an entire episode to do a flashback between the dramatic thing happening and the dramatic thing resolving by means of this particular flashback, that does not absolve it of being a Deus Ex Machina. You're still introducing the solution right as the problem happens.
Yes. Right as it happens. And it would have been a better story if, I don't know, another character had saved that character rather than just introducing another character to deal with. And Ravager Rose is terrible as a character.
I don't know why you keep calling her Ravager Rose. Her name is just... Well, her code name is Ravager. Her real name is Rose.
Okay, well, Rose is a terrible character. She is... I don't know, her acting is bad, and her motivations make no sense most of the time.
That's disappointing.
And
I can't remember the last time I actually saw a good portrayal of Ravager. Like, Arrow had a version of the character, I guess, technically, but it was also very bad, and the backstory made no sense. Yeah. She just kind of gets a raw deal as far as everything goes.
she feels like someone's OC.
Okay. I'm gonna outline what Ravager's actual thing is supposed to be, and you're gonna have to tell me like whether it lines up or whether it's completely different.
Yeah.
So the way Ravager works, Rose Wilson is her real name.
Yeah.
She is Deathstroke's kid, and
Yes.
they're basically estranged. and she really wants him to acknowledge her and treat her like family. But Slade Wilson is a fucking nutter and really messed up in the head. So she decides she wants to be a cool mercenary badass like him. So she trains and does stuff and like does whatever he wants her to do to be a cool badass. And eventually she cuts out her own eye to match Slade because he has only one eye, if memory serves.
That is not the character.
Okay, cool.
There are some elements of that, but that is not the character.
Yeah.
Also, there's forced romance.
I cannot think of a single instance of where Ravager actually gets into a romance, but that might be my lack of knowledge on the subject matter. I have cursory awareness of the character, enough to know the backstory, but that's about it.
I'll say this. She does not want to cut out her own eye in this one.
So she doesn't want to be like dear old dad.
Yes, but no. I don't know how to describe it. It's very inconsistent. It's frustrating. Because I saw there was a potentially like good thing going, but literally most of the time that Starfire is in season 2, she is off dealing with the setup for, I guess, season 3. She does, and then I almost forgot. On top of nerfing her normally, after a certain point, her powers just stop working. Because I guess the writer's like, I guess we just don't want to deal with her at all.
Okay, bear with me. Just for the sake of making sure I'm not talking out of my ass, I'm gonna actually look up the character.
Okay.
Yeah, basically brainwashed by Slade, becomes his apprentice, yeah, that whole thing that I said was mostly right, though through brainwashing, and then she becomes a hero and joins the Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons.
There's a lot of conflict that's never resolved in the Titans show.
Yeah, a lot of plot threads that just kind of exist and spiral and intertwine and don't really resolve properly.
The last thing I'll say is a spoiler. So
okay,
I'm
actual
a
big
few
spoiler.
minutes ahead. If at the end of the show, they've defeated. Basically, what happened was Cadmus had basically brainwashed Superboy, and thanks to Raven and sending Dick Grayson into his mind for some reason, that helped resolve the problem. And Superboy is safe. Everything is good. And then this tower thing nearby that they crashed into in a fight earlier starts to crash down towards these people. And Wonder Girl runs forward and grabs it and is electrocuted by the electricity going through this tower. And then she just dies.
What?
Yeah. Right at the very end. Not in a fight, not in a dramatic moment of anything. Just like, she just runs forward, grabs the thing to stop it from falling on people, and dies.
That is the most anticlimactic climax I've ever heard.
And then it's just like, oh, sad music carrying her body, and I'm in shock. How
Oh, for fuck's
can you
sake! This is Game of
write that and get
Thrones.
away with it?
This is Game of Thrones level of like, let's subvert expectations. This is the ghost of that fucking show infecting other shows.
Not only that, at the end, they're like, Raven's going to go with him to Themyscira, and then she's going to see if she can find a way to revive Wonder Girl.
I was never gonna watch the show.
You know what
I'm
that
glad
sounds
I
like?
haven't.
You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like to me, this actress doesn't want to come back, but maybe in the future. Huh?
That sounds
Done in
like
the
these
worst way.
actresses don't want to be in the show anymore, but maybe. Like,
Yes, these actresses probably. And it's incredibly disappointing. Oh, by the way, you know Aqualad?
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
know the Young Justice version. I don't know any of the other ones because, Aquaman. Who
yeah,
cares?
he's dead.
Okay.
It was his death that broke the Titans into pieces because Deathstroke shot him, and well, he was aiming for somebody else, but like Aqualad's like, I'm gonna get in that bullet for that person. I'm gonna get in front of that bullet, and it's gonna just kill me.
Okay.
Yep.
The more you say about this show, the less I have to say about the. Let's generously call them plot twists.
There are plot twists that are interesting. But the way they resolve conflicts is the worst I've seen. Trigon is resolved in one of the most unsatisfying ways possible. Trigon goes full like, oh, now I'm going to destroy everything and I'm going to go full demon mode and everything. And Raven's like, I've awakened to my powers and freed my friends, so now I'm just going to end this thing with like magical energy, and boop, he's gone. Is there a fight that's going to happen? No? There's no fight? A fight with all the Titans involved and no? Okay.
I can't tell whether that's just toning down of the setting, because Trigon is supposed to be like the galactic super devil, or if that's just they didn't really have a real resolution to that, so they just said stuff happens, it's over. I mean, let's be real. The whole Raven and Trigon thing is literally the Antichrist is here to open the door for the devil to invade the Earth, is what happens with that whole plot thread. That's what it's supposed to be.
She frees Dick Grayson from the mind control of Trigon. It's like, you're important, and then he doesn't do anything. It's frustrating. I want it to be better.
As tends to be the saving grace of DC stuff, the animated stuff is still a thing. It still exists.
Yes, that's the live action version of Young Justice. Oh, I'm sorry, Titans. Couldn't tell the difference for a second.
Yes, you could. Though, let's be real, Young Justice has also kind of gone off the rails for season 3, but whatever. That
I just
I remember I got ranty about that one. So, you know,
hmm
Twitter saves the world. Yeah.
it's frustrating when you deal with DC stuff, and it's just like it's all the same. The live action stuff, at least. I think that's one of the. I know the comparison is obvious, but with Marvel, like there's a lot of similarities, but usually they tend to do things like explore different types of storytelling with different characters, whereas it all just kind of feels like the same sort of dark, gritty thing with the DC live action stuff.
Hmm.
The one exception being, Wonder Woman, which was actually pretty awesome. The newest Wonder Woman, because it's very heroic. I'm like, I would rather have you have a good heroic story than a bad dark one.
Well, there has been one example of them actually doing different tones and managing to make it work in DC live action, and that was the CW shows and wherever else they ended up for the multiple
Right.
spin-offs that existed. Like
Hmm.
there were a bunch of them, and they were all pretty tonally distinct. Like Arrow was basically Batman. Let's be perfectly honest. It was a very grim show. Then it got happier, which was not good. But for the first 3 or 4 seasons, it was pretty grim. And then you had the Flash, and that was a much more standard hero show, is what I'll call it. It was cheerful. It was light. It had the melodrama. It had the actual drama. It had a standard love interest story of, oh, she's on the periphery. She wants to know who the Flash is, and it turns out it's a childhood friend. What? And all that stuff. Well, I say childhood friend, I mean adoptive sibling, but anime's in vogue. So, um, yeah. And then we had Legends of Tomorrow, which was the sci-fi one that was let's say meandering in tone. Sometimes it had serious shit it wanted to do. Sometimes it was goofy as balls. That was the one where they were really having fun with things, I think. And then you
Mm-hmm.
had Supergirl, that was probably the cheeriest of them all, and I didn't watch it. Perfectly honest, it didn't really grab me. But
I didn't watch a lot of the CW shows except for Flash. I saw a lot of.
yeah, they they were all their own thing, and in that sense, they were not all for everyone, which
Mm-hmm.
is usually a good thing. Like, the idea of having multiple characters is that they all do their own things and do them well, ideally. So having every story be the same grimdark shtick is just a waste. You're cannibalizing your own audience by giving them even more watch hours to have to chew through. And there's just a point where people get sick of that shit if you give them the same thing over and over again. But if you have a bunch of different types of shows, a bunch of different types of series that do distinctly different things, then there'll be some overlap of, I like this one, and oh, they're doing this one also, and it's in the same kind of setting. Cool, I will watch that too. I'll give it a shot. Maybe it's not my cup of tea, maybe it is. But you won't get bored because it's yet another grimdark show, is the
Mm-hmm.
point. Or film, because it's mostly a failing of the films, let's be real.
Yeah. It's it's unfortunate that Teen Titans have gotten such a really like weird history of shows. Because there was obviously Teen Titans the cartoon, then there was
Hmm.
Teen Titans Go, then Titans the live action one.
Well, okay, let's be fair. It was Teen Titans, and then it was Young Justice, and then it was Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
fair.
but
And Young
they,
Justice,
they might call it
you've
something
said
different, but it was basically the fucking Titans.
yeah. I think I think they're struggling to find what appeals to a teenage audience, if that makes sense.
That was the impression I got from Twitter saving the world. Yes, and the vague acknowledgement that trans people exist in a really just sort of out of nowhere, off the cuff, like literally no setup or payoff for it. Just trans, cool. Okay, never mention it again, kind of thing. It feels like a bunch of people in their 40s and 50s trying to say, hey there, fellow kids, effectively. And it's just not good. Or alternatively, a bunch
Yeah.
of writers that are actually of an adjacent age group to teenagers and thus have a better idea of how to, talk to kids and get them interested in the shows. And then you have the 40 or 50-year-olds putting the brakes on pretty much anything that would actually work.
Mm. Yeah, it's I feel like when it comes to adult shows, they can do fine. Um, it's just it's hard to nail down how much of one thing is like whether it be more adult or more less mature, more immature.
Mm.
The show should be because the Teen Titans cartoon, which everybody loves, had some serious stuff, but at the same time, it also had lots of jokes. It had um, everybody always clowning on Doctor Light and eating pizza, and in that sort of sense of these people are friends.
Mm.
They like being around each other. That's why they're a team. They can sometimes get into fights, but ultimately they have each other's backs. And that sort of camaraderie, um, I think actually will appeal to teens a lot more because you have friends. Friends are nice. It's good to have your squad, not just always fighting and bickering and moaning about my drama though.
Yeah, I get the feeling that a lot of writers tend to be the kind of people who, at least a lot of the time, for a lot of the popular stuff now, tend to be the kind of people that in like high school and school in general were just sort of seeing the social maneuvering and stuff that was going on and just decided to be misanthropes for the entire experience and just not be into any of that, or got screwed over by all of that,
Yeah,
and it colored their opinion of teenagers in general quite poorly, is what it
because
seems like.
Yeah, speaking for myself, I did have, I moved around from school to school, but I had several different um, big groups of friends, and I had a blast with them. And it was nice having, you know, people who have my back like that. I don't want to go watch a show where everybody just kind of like they'll be friends sometimes, but then fight most of the time, and it should be the opposite way around.
Yeah, this might be one of the reasons why anime is gaining a bit more of a following than uh, Western shows, is because anime tends to be like, hey, everybody's friends. Like, don't just spend a bunch of time on a bunch of bullshit arguments that don't go anywhere and have no point except to stall for time. They're friends. They'll have each other's backs. They'll disagree sometimes, but they'll have each other's backs because that's what friends do.
I
It's just not something you see very often in Western media nowadays for
I,
some reason.
I see a lot of vocal people who, when they see, oh, this is just a day of normal life in My Hero Academia, it's like, yes, give me more of this.
Hmm.
Give me more of these people being friends and being kids.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that and to see how these people react around each other when things aren't going a million miles an hour.
Yeah. Like, I still remember that one really weird and stupid filler episode they did that was like the special class where it was like a bank robbery, no, a jewelry store robbery scenario. And
Yeah,
it was really dumb and convoluted, and none of the logic made sense. But it was fun and just like an insight into, hey, these kids are just, in school doing school things of being superheroes. And then
yeah, it was a nice little peek into a lesson.
fucking, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ida just screaming to the heavens, what about love? Or something.
Yes,
Fucking,
because
yeah,
it gets so into character.
yeah. It was, yeah.
He was really enjoying the narrative the teachers were presenting.
Yeah. Yeah, so
But as a writer, you might think, well, that's not necessary for the plot.
no, that's what you call
I don't.
fluff. But people like fluff. Go figure. Just people like the characters. They like being happy sometimes. Go figure.
Part of making the hard plot stuff matter is making the characters and their relationships matter because that's what's going to be put to the test
Yeah.
when the conflict comes.
To make the bad stuff hit harder, you need to have the good times to counter that. To show what is being lost during the bad times.
Not every story needs an element of humor, but some stories could definitely use moments of relief.
Hmm. I'd say every story needs an element of relief.
Yes.
Like how. That's why it's
Actually,
an
yeah, no,
arc.
I agree with you.
It is an arc. It is supposed to go up and then go down, and then go up and then go down, in sort of a wave of the story tension builds and stuff happens and things get a little grim for a while, but then the heroes emerge victorious and everything cools down and everyone can relax and have a good time and enjoy the time with the characters they like before the next bad thing happens.
Yeah, and part of the problem I had with Titans is you have the arc, but the characters don't sit down and just deal with the conflict that they had with each other at all. It feels very like Dick Grayson shows up and everybody's like, "Yay, Dick Grayson! Yay, he's here to help." And Raven's like, "Yay, Dick Grayson!" And I'm just like, "Didn't you guys just abandon him immediately before?" And like I realized you guys had gone to go find him out, like find out where he went and track him down earlier in the season, but really? You not even gonna mention the fact that you guys just kind of walked out on him?
No, they came back, so it's okay now. That's how that works, right? People don't need to apologize.
That's it. There's no apologies. That's the issue. There's very, very few apologies. Your characters need to recover from the conflicts they have with each other. That way they can work together and have it make sense.
Mm.
Like it's a bit different depending if your characters are friends or if they are rivals or enemies that are forced to work together. But if they're friends, I feel like a lot of writers don't have friends.
It's really brutal, but it's not like I wasn't hinting at that earlier. So, I mean, let's be real. The industry that they work in, if they're writing for very popular shows, is kind of brutal and cutthroat, and you have to do a lot of schmoozing, and all of it is bullshit. So that's not going to give them a lot of good real life experience to draw from for building friendly relationships in their writing. But saying that, again, write what you know is a bullshit philosophy that does not make sense. Because imagination is literally the point of being a writer. So,
Yes.
I don't know.
If you run into something that you do not know, you can always get research so that you can learn that.
Yeah.
But in most cases, it's fantasy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of fiction is, has fantastical elements to it.
Yeah.
It's fiction. It's not real.
France does not have lions. That did not stop Shakespeare from writing a play set in France that had lions. Or from writing a play set in the Denmark fucking royal court, which he had not seen, being a fucking basically, a playhouse entertainer in downtown London. That he was fucking nobody. He didn't go anywhere near any other European country, probably. But he wrote about him. Vienna, sure, why not? You don't have to know it to write it. I would love to know how Tolkien met fucking elves and dwarves. Well, dwarves is pretty reasonable, but elves still. And orcs. Actually, orcs is kind of a thing that was actually drawn from something. We'll brush past that. Actually,
Elves and dwarves are also drawn from mythology.
they are, yes, but he didn't fucking meet one. Is what I'm trying to say.
That is true.
So, what else did you do to Zero?
Oh, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 because I don't know. It's just been a time sink recently.
Because Fresh told you to, and Dawn.
Well,
probably.
no, because it's Dawn's favorite game, so yeah. But also, I've been playing. I have. I'm in a whole other server with a bunch of friends who play it. Um. So I recently caught up to the newest expansion in that.
Yeah,
Which
the one that
means
came out like last year or the year before or something.
Yeah, yeah, Shadowbringers. It's we're talking about TV shows, and I just want to say it is a an MMO like this can only tell a story, like can tell stories that only an MMO can, and it's really interesting because what the game does is obviously it improves in quality the further it goes, but every single plot thread that is brought up is usually tied back into the story at some point.
Hmm.
It might not be this expansion, but it might be the next one. And so there's a constant narrative, even though each expansion is like its own game. So it has the strength of like a series of games without needing to stop and explain everything all over again.
Hmm.
Which is really interesting.
Don't make me play 14
What?
again.
How far did you get?
I about level 15 or something in like 6 classes. It was,
Uh, um,
it was fun
they
enough,
I
but then I had
they
no time.
recently cut a Realm Reborn down into being much easier to go through,
Yeah, I think I was
which
playing
is the
it then. That's
yeah.
the thing. I was just going really slowly through it because, hey, this is the crafting system. Oh, that's actually a really neat crafting system. I might actually just, do a bunch of this. And then I did for like 4 hours, and it was entertaining in kind of a mindless way, but it got in the way of me actually playing the game.
My advice: save the crafting until after you've unlocked a place called Diadem, or the Gathering rather, and the crafting as well, because you kind of do those both at the same time. There are better ways to level those than just mindlessly grinding, and that is mindlessly grinding in the right place. It took me 2 hours to get my miner to 50 from 20.
Hmm.
So yeah, um, I kind of gave it a rating. The first sort of main story, which is a Realm Reborn, is like a 5 out of 10. Truthfully speaking, like there's some very good stuff I like about it, and when you have the right group of people to go with you, um, especially for the final series of fights, it can be very satisfying. But then the next expansion comes out, and that's like a 7 out of 10. Then the one after that is a 9 out of 10, and there's just big improvements in quality the further you get into the game, and I really enjoy that. Playing Ninja and Dark Knight as my primary classes
Hmm.
because Ninja is fast and Dark Knight has the storyline of I am so sick and done with these fetch quests. That is the storyline for Dark Knight. It's like I'm so pissed off. Why do you keep making me do these fetch quests? I'm not your errand boy.
Also, Batman quotes,
Yes,
right? Right.
probably. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't remember if there were any
I
Batman quotes
am the
except
night and stuff.
nah. Um, yeah. So I'd recently finished Stormblood, which is the second to newest, and that one is very good. It features two conflicts. Um, it's also the one that has the place that is literally Japan in it. So get all your Japanese gear and glamour there. And then a place that is more like a like Persia. So get all your Persian looking gear. Um, Shadowbringers is very very different, and it's really cool. It's I can't say anything about it without spoiling it, but it is full of new ideas, which I rather enjoy.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just when you can tell a story like this continuously, without having to like even if you use side content that's optional, sometimes there'll be a dialogue option that references that side content, or a character will reference that you did that or that you were there for them during that side content. It accounts for a lot of things in a satisfying way. Like there's a line where if you're playing a healer in a specific scene where this character is injured, it's like, well, heal them. You're a healer, aren't you?
Oh, Discord, you assholes!
What?
Look in fucking shithole. That might be fake. I don't know, but holy shit, that is the worst. To quote, for the sake of listeners, that this probably came out way too late for actually to be relevant. Keeping communities alive and thriving is no easy task, so send your community server and mod team an appreciative ping today. So, just sort of considering whether to just go into server settings and turn off pings just for a while.
Just please round them in pings.
I can't believe we lost someone from the fucking server because I happened to ping everyone once in like, how long have we had the server? 3-4 years?
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's our server. We can do what we want.
Oh, everyone ping. Fuck this. I'm out. Ooh. Oh well. Anyway, Final Fantasy 14. Whatever. Let's move on, please.
Yeah. Let's move on. Okay.
Enough.
I saw a movie recently as well. It's called The Lie. Where basically there's parents that are kind of in a difficult relationship, and they have their 15-year-old daughter, and dad is going out to pick up his daughter, and they find her friend while they're kind of driving, and she's kind of waiting for the bus. So they pick her up too, and they're going to like a camp, and then they want to stop to use the bathroom on the side of the road, and he's like, fine. And they go out. Daughter comes back without her friend and says, oh, we were on the bridge, and it was an accident, but I pushed her. And so then the rest of the movie is about the parents trying to cover up for the fact that their daughter killed somebody. It is a miserable movie.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun.
Oh, it's so like I'm watching this and I'm just like, I just feel bad. I feel bad. They're going through so much hell to try to just hide this. And then at the end there's a twist and it just digs the knife in deeper. And I don't know, interesting movie. Like a thriller, drama movie, but it is, if you want to see a feel bad movie and see what lengths these parents will go to try to hide this, go watch The Lie.
No.
I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of feel awful, but I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go with no on that one, Chief.
That's fair. That's perfectly fair. Oh yeah. one last thing, I guess, because I've been talking for a while. Um, so recently I was substitute teaching, and I had the
Mm-hmm.
weirdest experience substitute teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where I had to go in and teach science to fourth and fifth grade. Typically, what that means is for science teachers in elementary school around here, um, they rotate, classes rotate in and out to their room, and they teach like a block of science while they give the primary teacher of that class prep time. It's like an hour of science. I get in there and my lesson plan is an email chain, and I'm like, I don't understand what this is all about. If she's saying she's going to zoom in, how does that work? And it turns out, in this particular climate that we're in with pandemic, what I do is I go to this classroom and I monitor the kids while they log on to their Chromebooks and then have the science teacher Zoom with them from home and teach the lesson.
So you're not
While
so
the
much a
teacher
teacher
leaves
as a
doing prep.
babysitter.
Yes.
That is a weird system.
Yes. That is. I was like, what?
What the
What am
fuck
I
is the
doing?
point of that? If you can have the kids come in and have someone be a staff member on the premises anyway, then just have the teacher fucking do it. What's the.
The teacher needs the prep time, and the actual, I guess the actual science teacher can't be at school because one of the classes she was teaching science to was recently quarantined. So I guess it was just my job to just sit there and watch the kids and make sure they didn't get out of their seats and cause chaos while
That
the
is
actual teacher went to go prep.
that is really dumb. That is really dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, it's an easy day and I get paid for it, but at the same time, I feel like I didn't do anything at all, and I didn't.
Well, if they want to pay you for that, then fucking let them.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm down for that. But yeah, I think that's about it for my week. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that I've really done of note. What's your week been?
My week's okay. I, mm, my week's okay. Just kind of the standard for my weeks of doing the stuff of the writing and the things as that goes. Um, I'm falling deeper into the infinite rabbit hole, unfortunately. Rabbit hole? Rabbit hole. Enunciate, Casey. Uh, so I am no longer just a shrimp. I am also a deadbeat. I am now a fan of Maury Calliope of Hololive. She is pretty awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is great.
I have
I'm
listened to
also
that EP that she has on her YouTube about 12 times today. I just kind of have
you're in
murder
deep.
is so fucking kawaii running through my head over and over again. Shini, Gami, Sensei, Cal, Io, P.
Calliope.
Yeah.
Hit him with the bass and you get him to say, "Yay, sick and nice." That's how it goes.
It's those are actually really good songs. Like the pretty basic, as beats go, but well, actually that one in particular is not basic, but maybe the production is a little not perfect, but it's still really good. Yeah. So I watched her stream Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. It was a thing that was done yesterday. I think yesterday or the day before. And Oh, that brought memories back of that game. That was the thing. That's the one with the giant mountain of trash and the guy with the
Yes.
sledgehammer sitting in a
I played that game
pot.
a little bit,
Yeah.
and then I quit.
Well, naturally, that's the point. She did surprisingly well, which just made the heartbreak even worse. Uh, so yeah, that was fun. And from there, I went to the EP, and I've fallen down the hole again.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Uh, so aside from that, um, video games. I had been playing as Azure Lane for a bit. It was better than I thought it was after my one brief like hour long go of it months and months ago. Uh, I have not played it in a couple of days. I might just stop again because it apparently takes something very particular to get me into a gacha game nowadays, and that's not it. So that's unfortunate.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. So FGO still has its hooks in me and probably will forever until it closes. Uh, and Genshin I haven't played since the fucking event ended ages ago. So, you know. But I feel like Genshin is a game I can just go back to and not fucking miss anything. So, that's fine. Maybe when they actually have a big content update that is not infuriating, then I'll go with that. But I actually played a real game also over the past couple days. Uh, Arkham Asylum. Because apparently I don't play games that came out in this decade anymore. Did that come out in this decade? I don't even know. Well, technically, I mean, it's the 20s now, so technically, basically nothing is in this decade, but still.
I
Yeah.
haven't played Arkham Asylum in so long.
It holds up. It is still a very good game. Very well put together.
Yeah, I remember loving it, and there was always the hidden stuff in like the hidden room that hinted to the next game.
Yeah, that was a thing. Like
Hmm?
I still don't quite know how people found that, but they did. Because the whole thing was you get a gadget in the game that lets you break down fragile walls, and you have the detective vision thing, so you can just straight up see fragile walls, and they'll just show up on the hood of it's like a crack mark, and you can see through the wall. Uh, but that room that basically said what the next game was going to be, uh, that was a fragile wall that didn't show up on the HUD at all. You just had to randomly put the explosive on it and blow through it, and you would just find it. So I don't know how people found that unless they just went through the fucking code or the map geometry or whatever. But yeah, that game still holds up. The combat is not as pitch perfect as people seem to insinuate nowadays. It is about as janky as fucking Spider-Man's was. So it's not as good as Arkham Asylum rings a little hollow now. But yeah. So
Mm.
that was still a fun experience to go back to and just enjoy. It has made me aware of a flaw in the controller that I bought recently for about £80 that is unfortunate, that the A button is a little finicky and doesn't work very well, which is really unfortunate for such an expensive controller. But yeah. Fuck else did I do? I don't even know. I don't think I did all that much else, to be perfectly honest with you. I think I might have psoriasis, so that's not great. But you know,
Sorry.
oh well. It is a thing, and it was not completely unexpected because my sister has it really bad. So if it is only as bad as is what it is now for me, then that's perfectly fine by me because it's kind of irritating. Well, that's that's what psoriasis is. It's skin irritation, but still, it's annoying. But yeah. Oh well. I feel like I was going to do something else that I was completely blanked on. I don't know. Did I talk about Enter the Gungeon last time we recorded?
I think you did.
I don't know. It's fine. I'm probably never going to play it again, is my opinion on it at this point.
Hey, that's how I feel too.
Yeah, it's great. I can. Yeah. That was a thing that just happened. Choked on my breath. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, the thing that I said about Enter the Gungeon last time was like, hey, I'm thinking of trying out bullet hells of like Enter the Gungeon and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I bought Enter the Gungeon. It's fine, but meh. It turns out I really don't like actual roguelike games. Like just straight up roguelikes instead of roguelites, where there's no permanent progression.
Because it can be difficult to really get into those games. Because it's just like it requires a lot of time to get all of these different runs, and if you don't like the gameplay itself, it's just hard to enjoy it.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember which is which, but the Super Eye Patch Wolf on Shenmue 3, where he talks about intrinsic and extrinsic rewards and progression. Yeah, I feel like that's the problem. I can't just do games that are all whichever one is just you get better at the game and that's your reward. I can't handle just that. I will be okay with some of that, but I need something to push me forward to play more of the game.
You like to have the leveling up and the new weapons and the new stuff that you're getting, like, Dark Souls style, right?
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, you get better at the game. It is, you get access to new things you can do with the game.
Yeah, like it's getting to the point where people are maybe filleting this game a little too much, but Hades is a game that does very well at both. You have the, for the sake of it, I'm just going to say intrinsic rewards of the game gives you stuff that you keep through every run, and it allows you to make incremental progress and get slightly stronger every time. And you also have the extrinsic reward that is outside of the game, so I assume I'm right on this one, of you are getting better at the game, you are learning the enemy's patterns, you are figuring out how everything works, so you are getting better at the game while the game pushes you forward with these little, very clear, very laid out intrinsic rewards that, make it clear that even if you're not getting better at the game, if you didn't learn a goddamn thing from that particular run, you're still in a little bit better a position than you were last time.
You get another Death Defiance, or you get another dash, or you get a new weapon.
And every time
you get more tools.
Every time you get another tool, every time you get a slight increase to your health or whatever you happen to get that run, it gives you a little bit better of a chance to learn the game and get better extrinsically. So I appreciate that. I am quite good at Hades now because I put a lot of fucking time into it because it kept, putting these little incremental rewards through
Yeah,
playtime.
it rewards you for playing it.
Yeah. So yeah, if it's all just hey, get good, then fuck off. I'm not interested. If you're not gonna actually give me tools to help learn the game faster or just experience more of the game as it goes on instead of just hard locking off content until I'm X good at this game, I'm not really interested in continuing to play it. I'm never going to be the guy that figures out the fucking 15 string combos in Street Fighter or whatever the fuck. I don't know whether that's the right game for that sort of talk. It's like fighting games, it's combos and uh, jump cancels and all that shit. I don't fucking care. If that's all there is to the game, I don't fucking care.
I
I'm
think
I'm
about
I'm, I'm not a sportsman. I play video games.
I think about D&D when it comes to designing a game and how it flows. And one thing that D&D does is it allows you to have different ways of leveling up, of gaining experience, right? Some people do like a matter of sessions or a matter of story progression or a matter of um you just get XP per monster that you fight. Now, I remember there was a new DM that I was being a player for, and what he did was he had done the system where experience is tied to story progression,
Hmm.
but then he did something that was rather odd. He had us do a random encounter on the road that gave us no loot. What's the
So
reward for participating in this fight? We're not
yeah,
getting
so it
experience.
just
We're not
happened
getting.
and you just move on. Nothing was gained from it. It's just a time waster.
Yes, exactly. Is the game, that fun for us to play? Well, combat takes a while, and it takes a lot of, it takes planning and maneuvering. And for playing well and not getting a lot of damage out of that fight, you'd expect some sort of reward of some kind or what have you. But if you don't have a reward for your efforts, then the next fight's going to be like that, and the next fight, and the next fight. Why are you playing? It's just going to be like, I understand if you want to do like a challenge thing, but even then, that has a limit to like you got to get something out of it.
Hmm.
So with a lot of the roguelikes, they save some of your progress because they want to respect your time that you've put in.
Yeah. Hmm. So yeah, I have discovered I just straight up don't like that genre of like that very very specific very narrow genre of roguelikes with a K. Uh, so I'm just gonna avoid those from now on. Is just not my thing.
Hmm.
Binding of Isaac 2 or whatever it's called, I'm just gonna skip. I don't care.
Binding of Isaac is an interesting case because that game requires you to clear it a lot
Yeah,
to
that's
get
that's a
access to
weird
some
one.
of the coolest stuff.
It doesn't reward you for clearing like or for doing well or anything like that. It just says do it again, stupid.
It unlocks new things for you to go and do.
Hmm.
The issue I have with Binding of Isaac, though, is that game, when you first start every run, it is not fun to play.
Hmm.
The first few floors are not fun to play. And they get something, it's like, wow, this is fun to play. Too bad I'm not going to be able to do this thing again on my next run.
Hmm. Yeah. That might be a flaw of how that game was built. Like they started with a pretty basic framework of yeah, it's basically just a twin stick shooter with four directions instead of like proper stick. Um, but with how that was originally designed, you always start with nothing. But then every expansion was laying on top of that, where you still always start with nothing. So with every expansion, you still just have to go through the game and just hope something new and interesting comes up eventually.
Yes. It's the same sort of thing with what I played of Gungeon. You run into the issue of I got a gun. Is this a good gun? No. Do I have to use it? Yes.
Yeah,
I don't want to use
that's
this gun.
also a problem with that particular style of how they do unlocks. Like Dead Cells does this as well. Of like, yeah, you unlocked this thing. Is it good? Uh, it doesn't really tell you. It doesn't give you any indications other than just fucking using it and wasting ammo to see whether it's decent or not. Like it doesn't tell you how much damage the gun does. It doesn't tell you the rate of fire. It shows you the ammo capacity, but that's about it. Well, I say it shows you the ammo capacity. Sometimes it doesn't because it doesn't have reloads, and then that just means the clip goes all the way through the fucking top of the screen, so you can't see. uh, yeah, that's a little weird design choice, but yeah, it seems to defy the idea of actually giving you useful information on the things that you pick up. So, for many hours of the game, it's not just you get better at playing the game, it's also guesswork of what's good and what's not, unless you look at a guide.
That's another frustrating thing with Binding of Isaac, where it's just like, here's the thing. Do I get a description? Well, no, you don't really. How do I
Yeah,
solve this? Download a mod.
yeah. Here's a tarot card. It's the fucking Emperor. Cool. What does that mean? Work it out. Sorry, not tarot card. I think it was playing cards, wasn't it, in Binding of Isaac?
It was a tarot card. Yes, it was a tarot card. You're
Oh,
right.
okay. Yeah. I think they might have had both, actually, but yeah.
They had dice and stuff as well.
And like 12 different kinds of pills that were only distinct from each other by how they were colored. And by how
Yes.
they were colored, I mean there was a blue and white one and a white and blue one. And they were different pills.
Yes. It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, that's bad game design. That you need to give the player more information than that, unless you are just specifically
Some of those
working to
pills,
defy wiki writers.
some of those pills can just screw you over too.
Yeah, they can. A lot of them can. A lot of stuff in Binding of Isaac can actually just screw you over.
The best way to okay, one game I actually really like that is a rogue like game is Dead Cells, right?
Yes.
I, I like Dead Cells a lot because Dead Cells is fun to play. Like regardless of anything else, it is fun to play. But also, um, you don't just get a weapon of your choice. You can do that and go through the game with that weapon. Yeah, why not? Upgrade it to other various types of weapons, but start with the thing that you like playing. It's great,
Yeah,
and
that was
give the
a
player
thing in it, wasn't it? It
information.
was at the very beginning. It always gave you a choice of three things, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
and I think you unlock different ways of like I can now just choose what I want when I'm starting a new run.
yeah. There were plenty of things I liked about Dead Cells. It got a little, well, it was basically the Binding of Isaac problem that you said earlier. Of you start with the same nothing basically, and it was kind of dull for the first level, and I got tired of doing the same first level like 20 times.
Hmm.
I might have to give that game another shot at some point. Wonder how Rogue Legacy 2 is doing. I haven't actually looked into that to see how it's updating.
I haven't looked at it either.
fact, it's right here.
Maybe you should go give it another shot.
Well, I haven't
Go
played it
give
yet because it
go
started
give the
with
genre
just
another shot. I mean,
well, I mean, like I say, I like roguelites with the T, because that's what Rogue Legacy is and was, and Hades is, and all the other ones that I actually like. So, okay, so they have updated to add a second zone, and they are working on the third, and they have a roadmap. So that's just chugging along. Cool. I'm curious, what did they work on between Rogue Legacy 1 and 2? Because it's been a fucking while.
Rogue Legacy's like the old grandpa now.
Celador Games. Full Metal Furies, whatever that is.
Sounds familiar.
Cooperative action RPG. Unique combat system, everyone's important. Yeah, it's a co-op game. That's no wonder I didn't look at that game. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I'm just chugging along with the writing and stuff. Managed to not release something late this week, which was better than last week.
I've been just mining in FF14. We've been doing this.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've heard fucking clicking of stuff going on. So I've just been kind of paying attention, listening to you, and being engaged in the conversation. But you do you. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I am being engaged in the conversation. I just always need to move my hands and do something, or else I just cannot sit still for a long period of time.
Yeah, I can't do that. If I'm talking to people, then I'm talking to people. If I'm playing a video game, I'm playing a video game. That's it. I do not multitask. Which makes writing a pain in the ass. Because I can't do anything else while I'm doing it. No music, no fucking anything else. Like, I've learned that while music can be good for some people, it's apparently not for me. It's just a distraction.
Yeah, I have to listen to music or something, or else I just go insane when I'm writing.
I remember the dozens upon dozens of times where I would just talk up, hey, have some music playing in the background, but, well, there are occasions. It seems to be the thing for me that if I have music playing, it has to be new music that I don't know. And that's fine. Otherwise, it's just a distraction because I want to sing to it. And that's what ends up happening. Yeah. So, I had the Coheed and Cambria playlist going for like fucking months because that was like 7 or 8 albums worth of music. Alright, cool. It took me a while to learn it, but now that I've learned it, I can't listen to it anymore when I'm writing. Then there was fucking Bring Me the Horizon, their then newest album. That was okay. That gave me another couple weeks. David Bowie, fucking Linkin Park's Reanimation, which I do know, but doesn't actually have that much singing on it, so that's fine. Yeah. So I just constantly have to cycle and look for new shit to listen to if I want to listen to music while I'm writing.
I have a hard time sitting still in general.
I could sit if I would not get like fucking bed sores and shit. I could sit in this chair for the rest of my goddamn life.
Fair. Like I'm always adjusting my seat and moving around, even if I'm with my distractions.
I would build a fucking pipe in the bottom of this chair, just so I would not have to move. I would sit in it naked, and just whenever I would need to.
Yeah,
just relax.
okay, sure.
It would be a recliner, so I could just sleep in it, and fucking in a gigantic basin so I could just turn the water on to shower and then fuck it, I'm fine.
Okay, Modoc.
That would be how I would
Bound
do
to your chair for
if I could.
just be Modoc. Just always in your chair.
Yeah, I'd be one of those people from Wall-E.
That is not a life goal. I hope you know that. That should not be a life goal.
Don't judge.
Uh, just an orb in a floating chair, having food enter through your mouth hole.
Yeah. It sounds like a joke, but I'm actually kind of down with this idea. If it was actually feasible, yeah, okay.
Like, I get so energetic and distracted to the point that I remember it's like I got a lot of Kenji gave me a lot of crap when I was playing Honey Pop because it's just like I'm not seeing these moves because there were so many bright colors on the screen at one point that I just like I could not concentrate at all because I just saw bright colors
and boobs.
I wasn't looking at that at all. I was just looking at the bright colors.
Sure.
That goes to show just how my brain works.
Mm-hmm. I believe you. You never mentioned Belly's Belly. That never happened. Totally.
I mean, for the joke.
Oh, for the joke. Yeah, okay. Content. That was what it was. Mm-hmm.
Content. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think we can call that a podcast. It's like an hour and a half long.
Sexy puzzle time.
Yeah, like half of this was just us, well, you ranting about Titans and me just kind of nodding along and, yeah, it's just shit. But, whatever.
It's a podcast.
Yeah. So, it's not the end of the month yet.
No, it is not. Although we are very close.
Yeah, we are. So, this podcast, whatever number it was, who cares? It was so professional. Discord, link in the description. Patreon, link in the description. Everything's weird. We get it if you don't want to donate. It's fine.
We're kind of in a pandemic, and teachers are teaching via Zoom to their students' laptops while they sit in the classroom.
Yeah, it's still weird. Vaccines are happening, you guys. I think according to the government schedule, my first shot is sometime in either end of February, March, I think it was. I don't quite know what group I would fit into. Because I'm supposedly vulnerable, but I can't remember whether I'm vulnerable or extremely vulnerable. So that would make it depend.
I got teacher privileges. So I'll be going into the district office with my mom to get those shots sometime in February.
Yeah. If I'm extremely vulnerable, it's probably next month. If it's just vulnerable, then I think it's April at the earliest. But like I say, I don't fucking go anywhere. Chair is a wheelie chair. It's fine. I can go wherever I need to in this wheelie chair. It's perfectly fine. Gonna wheel myself in the kitchen and make some food.
I need to wheel you to a gym.
Really do. Yeah, so that's the podcast. Bye, everybody.
That's a podcast. Bye. Thank you for listening.